What's up, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla SPY and a couple of other tickers. I want to talk about some big news involving Tesla, what's happening with the markets. But just note that I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. Anyways, when it comes to Tesla, I want to talk about some very important information. As you guys know, Tesla's trying to rebound this morning, but we're approaching this resistance at this 222 area. So the question is, will Tesla push a bit and establish a lower high and continue lower, or will we break past resistance and try to break past the highs? Now that will depend on the FOMC minutes and also other factors. So I want to talk about the news first before I break down the charts. So as far as Tesla goes, there's some news coming out that Tesla is going to recall more than 9,000 Model X SUVs, according to the NHTSA. And it's going to be very, very important. Now, this is important because of the fact that the NHTSA is saying that over a trim on the roof, there's a piece that could separate, increasing the risk of a crash, according to the NHTSA. And they're saying that there has to be a physical recall for a lot of these Teslas. This is not going to be fixed with just an over-the-air software update. So they're also talking about how this could lead to some safety concerns. This is what they're saying so far. They also mentioned that the front and center roof cosmetic trim pieces may be adhered to the vehicle without primer. So once again, some may be separated according to the letter that they just wrote yesterday. And if this were to separate, so if the surface lacks primer and there's a separation that happens, that could create a road hazard and maybe even increase the risk of a crash. So that's what their findings have said. So Tesla has to deal with this issue. This is going to affect more than 9,000 Model X SUVs from a particular year. So that's why it's very important for Tesla to address this. This is a physical recall according to reports. So we'll see how things go, and Tesla will have to deal with this. So it's a little bit negative news, but once again, it's only 9,000 Teslas. Fortunately, it's not way too many. Now, there's also some news that's come out. We just had the non-farm payrolls revision, and this is not looking that great because right now it's looking like, uh, as far as the numbers go, it looks like the estimations for the jobs numbers may have been wrong. And from the way things are looking, the numbers could actually be worse than expected. So, looking at this so far, there might be at least 600,000 jobs less than what we were expecting. So, that could be implying that the numbers were miscounted. And once again, there could actually be a decline in the jobs numbers by about 360,000. Others are saying it could be as large as 1 million. So, that's actually very important. This is going to be very important because this could be the largest fix they have to make in about 15 years. So there could be a big reaction to this once the market ends up opening. So we'll have to see how this ends up causing the market to move. So with these revisions, this suggests that the jobs numbers are not as strong as what the market has been being told. And with weakness developing, that could once again lead to more recessionary fears, at least later on down the line. I'm not talking about right now. I'm just talking about like later on. As far as earnings go, just real quick, we had Target and Macy's announce their earnings. Target is doing a good job so far with rising profits and good outlooks. They beat on EPS and revenue and good guidance. So great job, Target. They're up pretty big right now. I think they're up like 16%. And Macy's is also down a little bit because they had not the best of forecasts. So if you look at EPS, they beat, revenue is below expectations, and their forecasts are not as good. They have to actually adjust their full year guidance. That's why the share price is down. So that's what's going on with earnings. So as far as Tesla goes, we're trying to push right over here. We'll have to see if we could hold above 222 or not. If we hold above 222, we could be pushing all the way up towards the resistance over here around this 223 area. If that breaks, we're looking for 225. If you reject off 222, look at 220 as support. We're still range bound. We may attempt to go a little bit higher, but then watch and see what kind of reaction we get. It is possible we establish a lower high and come back down. So as of right now, we're just range bound on Tesla. And then there's going to be a big reaction depending on the FOMC minutes at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we'll see if Tesla kind of pushes a little bit and comes back down. My guts tells me it's just going to be range bound for now. It's not really doing anything too crazy, but then look for a big move once the minutes are released. For SPY, we're attempting to rebound. So we did dip quite a bit only to get bought back up. Look at 560 as our resistance. It is possible to try to push us towards this, but if we get a rejection, we could move back down to 558. As of right now, we're still range bound, but they may attempt to push things a little bit higher just temporarily into the 560 area just to kind of trick shorts. And I think there's a lot of manipulation that's going on right now. The revision that came out for the jobs numbers was not good, and despite that, they're still pushing the market up higher. So once again, bad news can still lead to the market pushing. And as of right now, with this manipulation that's going on, we're just range bound. So if we do hold above 560, I'd be looking for the highs from yesterday to be touched. And then we also have 562 above that. If you reject off 560, look for a move back down towards 558. I think we're just going to kind of range trade for now. And then the real move will come once we get the FOMC minutes. So that we'll be watching to see if that ends up being the case. For Nvidia, look at resistance at this 128 area. If we break this, we could get closer to 130. If we reject off 128, we could be coming back down to 126. So we're just range bound as well. Might push a little bit higher, but look at what that 128 resistance and see if we get a little rejection or not. I think we might just trade within this range, and then we will see what happens with the big data release, because that's going to cause the real piece of volatility. For Bitcoin, we're just kind of shuffling right here. We dipped a bit only to get bought back up. I could be looking for a test of 59,700. We'll see if we reject or not. If that breaks, we'll be going to the 60,000s, so give it some time. For the QQQ, we're doing a good job at holding up. We're basically looking at 481.25 is resistance. If we break this, we're going back up to 482. And if we reject, we'll be tipping back down to 480. We're in this range right here. We're kind of stuck in the middle, not really doing much. I do see an accumulation like structure, so we could push a little bit higher on the QQQ, but don't fall for the move, guys. This could be a fake trap depending on what happens with the FOMC minutes. So I think we might push a little higher, get closer to 482 on the QQQ, and then we might just start to shuffle and consolidate. And then we will see if we end up getting this, big reaction after the FOMC minutes. So now it's looking like we might push a little higher, but don't fully trust the move. It depends on the minutes, and we have to give this a little bit of time. Apple's just consolidating. It's also just stuck within this range. We have 227 as resistance and 226 as support. We're going to likely consolidate, and we'll see what kind of move we make after that. For the IWM, we've gapped up pretty nicely. We're approaching this resistance at this 214 area, and so I'll be watching that very carefully. Supports at 213, so we're kind of stuck in between. If we break 214, I'll be looking for 215, and if we reject off 214, look for 213. We're just going to shuffle for now. We may attempt to get closer to 215, but I think we're just going to be stuck in this range for the most part. So I'm not seeing anything too crazy. For Coinbase, it's the same thing. Essentially, we are trying to rebound, but look at this resistance at 197. If that breaks, we could go back up to 200 and come back down and consolidate. I think we might push for 197 and then eventually 200 and just consolidate. That's all I'm seeing for the time being. Nothing too crazy. For Amazon, we actually managed to push back up. We Instead of consolidating, we actually went up to about this 180 area. So we are looking a little bit more bullish on Amazon. This is outperforming the markets, and this may attempt to continue to push. If we hold above 180, we could try to fill this gap over here. I did call this out yesterday. If we lose 180, look for 178, but this looks a little bit more bullish as long as we hold 180. Meta is kind of flat right now. We called it a possible head and shoulders. I said to be a little bit careful with this. Technically, there is a head and shoulders here. So we got to reclaim 530 and then 535 to turn back up. If we reject and lose 524, then yes, there could be a bigger dip coming. So there's a possible head and shoulders. Be careful with Meta and make sure and watch and see if we hold 524. Microsoft is at resistance at 425. I said yesterday to watch to see if we reject or not. If we break this, we're going back up to 427, then 430. If not, we do dip. We are still looking like we want to push on Microsoft. And then Google's rejecting right here. I think we could get very close to 166. And we'll see if we get a bounce off that or not. So watch 166 for a potential test. When that being said, as far as Tesla goes, just to be very frank, we're trying to push and reclaim 222, but just know that we're barely holding support, and it is possible Tesla pushes a little bit, but just be very careful because we'll see if we establish a lower high compared to this high right here. And then in terms of the overall pattern, I still wouldn't rule out the possibility that this is just like a cup and handle. It is possible Tesla tries to continue, but whether we continue this pump depends on the FOMC minutes. So don't become too comfortable just yet. We still have to wait for the big data to be released, and we'll see what that leads to. With that being said, for now, Tesla's trying to push. We'll see if we could hold 222 or not. If we do hold this, we could get close to the high that pump, one of the resistances from yesterday at 223. and then 225 would be coming next above that. So we'll see if Tesla pushes just for a bit. That's despite the fact that we got some negative data about how the Fed had to just revise these jobs numbers. The market once again, it doesn't care about the bad data; it just continues to push. So it's lots of manipulation dictating the markets. And then don't forget that the FOMC minutes will be the next catalyst to affect whether or not this pump continues, if we get a rug pull or not. All right. So thank you for listening, guys. Have a great day. I'll see you guys in a few hours. Tesla's trying to rebound for now, but we'll see if the move lasts. And then be very patient and watch the levels I called out. Thank you for listening and peace out.